Myself Rajesh Tiwari. I'm having 10 years of real industry experiences. I'm proud to be a family of KT skill. Here I'll give few things about the KT skill strategies. Let's look at the screen. Uh, we are the KT skills family. We provide corporate professional online trainings globally on latest technologies based on high demands in the market. KT skill having industry experienced trainers to understand the students' requirements and guide them. KT skill always make sure to give the priority first to train students as per the industry demands, understanding the current platforms of students in terms of professional backgrounds, interests, financial challenges. We help them accordingly. We engage with students to understand them with industry environment with ITIL based practices, like how to handle the situations if servers outage happened with priority 1 and priority P1 and P2 and critical incidents comes in. We always provide the Q&A based on our industry expertise. The course of full wintel VMware and AD we included as combo course with minimal and affordable fees. Let's move on the agenda of demo. I have covered these things in this demo class. What is the Microsoft Windows servers? Overview of Microsoft Windows. What is the Windows servers and how it is different from the normal Windows? How important Microsoft Windows server? Scopes of Windows servers. What is the VMware? Overview of VMware. How important is VMware? Scopes of VMware. What is the Microsoft Active Directory? Overview of Microsoft Active Directory. How Microsoft Active Directory is important. Why required Active Directory knowledge? Okay, just a minute. Actually, I have not started the recording. Let me. Okay.
It's a started. No worries. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, here before going to start the Windows server, I'll let you know guys, since this course is for Wintel, VMware and AD, so I would not be able to give the practical things in this demo because I have already included these three skills, Wintel, VMware and AD. Just I'd like to give the overview of these things. But if I'll go in deep and if I'll show the demo class practical things, it will be taking time and it will not fine for you also. Okay. Okay, so that I have included this because of you got a knowledge in Wintel. Suppose only if I'll include the Wintel and not a VMware and AD, then if you'll be confused why the only Wintel is required and not VMware and AD. So that I have included these three things because of all interconnected. If we have the knowledge of Wintel and not VMware and AD, it's something challenges for you in the market. If these things is correlated and if you have the knowledge of these things, then it will be very easy to understand the authentication process and the other things, how Windows Server established and deployed on the ESX VMware. So that it will be very easy to understand these things in the single course. Okay. So I'll start from the Windows Server first. I'll let you know Windows Server is the brand name of group of server operating system released by Microsoft. It includes all Windows operating systems that are branded Windows Server, but not any other Microsoft product. The first Windows Server edition to be released under the brand was Windows Server 2003. However, the first server edition was Windows NT, followed by 3.5 server and 4.0 servers, and Windows 2000 server, and the later was first server edition to include Active Directory, DNS server, and DHCP server as well, along with the group policies and other popular features used today. Okay, then we'll compare with the normal Windows and Windows servers. Why Windows server is high demanded compared to normal Windows? Because of Windows server is always intended for businesses. It includes plenty of enterprise software, Active Directory, DHCP, file and storage, print services, Windows Update services. But if you look normal Windows that can't perform such kind of services. Windows Server is always make sure to connect with the clients, and it's a platform where where the user and user clients used to get the resources from the Windows servers. But if you look about the normal Windows is kind of client Windows that is used by the users. It's a different. Okay, let's move on the server. What is the server? What is the Windows server? Why? How? With this scenario and graph, we can understand easily. The server is a computer that is meant to be a dedicated service provider, and the client is computer that requests services. If you'll say in simple way, the server is the platform that used to provide the services to the clients. Who is the clients? Clients is the computer where the users are connected with the central servers. Okay, central servers, from where they have connected from the central servers. The servers are always used to give the resources to the clients. Okay, if you look at the graph, there is a clients, and in center, if you'll see the computer that is made up of like server, that server is always used to give the resources to the clients. Okay, and server is always dedicated network, and that is known as client server network, because of client and server both are interconnected with the same network. A server-based network is the best network for sharing resources and data while providing centralized network. Okay, let's move on. Server roles. Main thing is server roles. On the server, on the Windows server, the roles are the primary duty that server performs. You should note that server could have multiple roles. When you are determining hardware and software needs, look at the role. The load and the server will be placed under that server. Before establishing server, before that, we always make sure that what is the load in that server and what are all the roles we are going to install on the server based on the customer requirements. Okay, this is the roles. We call it as roles. Okay. If you divide the work groups and domains, first work group is usually associated with the peer-to-peer network in which user accounts are decentralized and stored on each individual network. If we'll say work group is always individual network that is not connected with the central servers, and all the clients which are all in work group, they have not the security for the data. If the data is gone, then it will not be recoverable, or the security security purpose also, it's not a good to join in the work group for the clients. If we'll say about the domain, a domain is a logical unit of computers that define a security boundary, and it is usually associated with Microsoft Active Directory. If we'll say about the domain, domain is the logical unit of computers. Because of many computers are many domain controller are connected with the central domain, And after that, on top of the domain controller, we try to install the Active Directory, and that is made as a domain controller. And many combination of
Okay,
the domain controller
sorry to
that
interrupt you, Rajesh. So, did you get a chance to the that participant, or you can say that partition of Active Directory means how to do the partition of Active Directory? If you
yeah,
talk about
partition of,
domain,
yeah, okay. Okay,
so how
partition
you
is
will,
Active
yeah.
Directory. Yeah, correct. There is a four kind of partition. Earlier it was three kind of partition: domain partition, configuration partition, and schema partition. But
Mm-hmm.
now in current industry, application partition also came up with the latest Windows server.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Then you have to we are okay. Then for partition, we can go for there's a two-way GUI mode and CLI mode also. There's the commands we run into the domain controllers.
That means that you can replicate this application also doing the whenever you are linking this application to that particular domain. So you can do the application partition as well, right?
Correct. Application is like Exchange server. You know, Exchange server. In case of if you are going to establish Exchange server in our forest, then we always
Mhm.
have to make the partition for the application.
And how it will be
Okay.
integrated to DNS zone?
For DNS zone, it's always we have to make sure DNS is the main hub for communicating to the client with the central domain and forest. If
Okay.
DNS is not available, then it's a problem. Okay,
Okay.
you asked the question about DNS zone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, DNS zone is the there is a manual interaction also, and there is an interval. There is an interval we set for the interval. DNS zones always try to transfer with the try to sync with the secondary zones. If anything's happened, it's an interval replication happening in background. Okay.
Okay.
In case of primary DNS zone got crashed, then it will be automatically synced to the secondary
So is there a
DNS
chance
zones.
to replicate the DNS data to the catalog server?
Yeah, DNS zone always it's a DNS zone is always synced with the catalog server. Catalog server is a server that always used to make the partition information about the partial domain controller also.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool,
it's
Rajesh. Thanks.
if you want to. Okay,
Thank you. You can go ahead.
okay.
I'm happy with the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. Here, if you might be thinking why Windows Server is required nowadays, because of many things, high demanded things came in market, like private cloud, VMware, and public cloud, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, etc., etc. But we can think in background why Windows Server is still required. Okay, then we say Windows Server is the basic requirements to jump on high demanded skills. Before that, jumping to the other high demanded like private cloud and public cloud. Windows server's knowledge would be always sustained and demanded in the current industry. And also administrator seeks to ensure that the uptime, performance, resources and security of the computers they manage meets the needs of the users without exceeding a set budget when doing so. With the help of Windows Server, we always monitor the uptime, performance, resources, and security of the computers. Okay, this is the requirement and why Windows Server is required. Okay, then we'll move to the scope of learning Microsoft Windows Server administration. Windows Server is mostly used by enterprise because of GUI and CLI console it offers. Second thing you need to understand is the market hiring trends. Enterprise are looking out for people with multiple skills like like Windows plus VMware or Windows plus automation PowerShell. So actually I have written the line, really I suggest you guys from my side, based on my past experience, to learn Windows plus VMware to be mastering in base platform before jumping to the cloud or other programming languages. It's my thought, because without Windows knowledge, we are half of the confident.
That's right.
Any questions, guys? Any question regarding the Windows? Why it's very important in the market, and why knowledge is required for Windows before going to the any other skills like cloud?
So it's open for all. If you have any question.
Yeah, Rajesh, Kishan this side.
Hello, hi.
Yeah, just help me to know just an overview about global catalog server.
Okay. Suppose global catalog server, if you have the one forest, under the forest we have domain controllers. Okay, either it may be RODC, read only domain controller, or it may be a primary domain controller. On all the domain controllers, by default GCS will be created. Okay, GCS is the mechanism to store all information about the partial domain controller, as well as and the other about on domain and forest also. The main things
Okay,
GCS, and there is a one roles, infrastructure operation master role. While placing the roles, we always make sure the infrastructure master role and GCS should not be placed on one domain controller. Okay,
okay, okay,
because because of there is a cross-functional replication will stop in case of we place the infrastructure master role and GCS on one server.
okay, okay. And one more question, uh, what is that integrated DNS, Active
And
Directory with integrated DNS?
yeah, we always like there is an option to select the integrated DNS while installing the AD and DNS. There is a faster and very faster logon and to give the replication. Uh, Integrated DNS is kind of like if you are installing the DNS and AD, the both are AD and DNS would be placed on one server. It's not like splitted. Suppose if you have think will install the DNS on other servers and AD on other servers, there is also chances in the to making if any hardware failure, then it to make sure that DNS and AD should be splitted. But in case of something faster logon or as per the customer requirement, we always try to make sure that if AD and DNS installed on both on single server, the login will be faster, and replication also happening will be in background, it will be very fast.
Okay,
That
okay.
means
Thanks,
if you
Rajesh.
do
Purpose is,
installation for the in the different server, that will help out in this disaster recovery case.
yeah,
So
and
for
if you'll yeah.
but for frequent communication is supposed to be it should be installed in the same server. Like Kisan, if you are installing Composer server and this that VMware server in the same server for frequent communication for the VDI, in the same way Rajesh is telling, if you install same all this setup in the same server, it will be frequent communication from both side.
Oh, yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks Rajesh.
thanks, Rajesh. Understand.
Sure. Okay, then let's move on the VMware part, since I have already included the VMware and Active Directory in these things in this demo class, so that we'll understand the VMware advantage and what is the VMware and why VMware is most important with uh, just hold on please. Sorry for interrupting. Okay, let's move on the VMware part. What is VMware? VMware is virtual machine software. That why we call software, because of it's open source. We can install from the VMware sites, and each virtual machine has its own set of virtual hardware. Because of why we call one set of virtual hardware, since we have only one physical machine required. On top of that, we install the VMware, and under the VMware there is many virtual machines, and all the virtual machines having set of virtual hardware. Allow multiple virtual machines, operating systems to run in isolation and side by side on the physical machine. Okay. 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 Let's move on. Having ability to run multiple OS on a single physical system and share the underlying hardware resources. Why we call it ability to run multiple OS on single physical? You can understand with the diagram. There is a one physical machine. Under that, on top of that, there is a multiple OS installed. Okay, if you'll think about the features of the VMware, there is a features: partitioning, isolation, encapsulation, hardware independencies. Partitioning. Why we call partitioning? In the VMware virtualization setup, there is a partitioning. We can set convenient as is like to monitor the VM with the help of heartbeats, and if you'll say about the encapsulation and scalability, there is an option to add the storage and things which customer requested while running the VMs. Okay, then hardware independencies. It comes when we install the virtual. Sandeep?
Yeah. Yeah, Rajesh, go ahead.
Okay, then we'll move on comparison of physical machines and virtual machines. If you think about the physical machines, there is a boundary to a specific set of hardware, and there's a like in bound also to set up the hardware, like we always choose the hardware like Proliant, SP, and Dell, and there is no choice of other things like in VMware, and often has short life cycle. Like there is a like what we call there is a license expiration in the hardware also, and required personal contact to upgrade the hardware. If hardware failure, then we always contact to hardware vendor, and it takes time to restore the services as usual. If to manage remotely, it's tough because if it's any kind of, then we engage with the vendor or on-site engineers. But if you about virtual machine, there's a key and easy to manage, isolated from other virtual machines running on the same physical hardware, and can manage the VMs on tool. Any question comparison to physical and virtual machine?
We're good, Rajesh. You go ahead.
Installation of VMware home lab. If you are going to suppose taking the class in the online schedule classes, then it's a very easy to install the VMware. Only have to download the VMware setup from the VMware site, and there is a instructions like we always will the students will definitely engage in the class. They can follow the instruction and partition the drive as per the requirement and then finish. It's a very easy, not like not like physical machines. Once we get the physical machine, we have to there's a RAID configuration and everything is there, and before that we have to think about the networks and other things. But about the VMware, on top of ESX, we are going to install the VMware because of network and other things already established and decided in the ESX side. The VMware installation is very easy. Only to select the data store and data centers, and we'll have to give the host name and IP address, and it will be established. The path we have to give where the VMDK file we have to store.
Hi Rajesh, Anand here.
Okay, once we move, hi Anand.
Rajesh,
Hi Anand.
as we know, Citrix and VMware both are used for the virtualization, right? So
Yeah.
Citrix is used for the application and desktop virtualization. But why to use VMware? And just could you please just brief about like why VMware is good in comparison to Citrix, or some consistency according to you? My next question is like, can we set up a lab for my purpose into my home? Like, is it possible?
Okay, if we'll compare with the Citrix and VMware, we can compare on the Citrix there is a
No.
See,
application compatibility.
Rajesh, why Anand is asking regarding the hypervisor part. Okay, so in Citrix, hypervisor is using like Gen server. Okay, and VMware is also a one hypervisor. So what is the difference, and what kind of good feature are included in VMware? And nowadays every organization is adopting VMware. And is that possible
Correct.
to set up that VMware in at home also? If people are like interested to set up a lab for the VDI or something, they can easily set up or not the VMware online lab.
Correct. Okay. Why VMware is most demanded in the market? Because of there is a having sorry, good mechanism to manage the VMs and good support from the VMware always 24/7. And the most things sorry, most thing is there is a high availability. Okay, if you'll see about the high availability in the Citrix, there is a something manual interaction also is there. But in the VMware, there is a high availability and cluster data center. There is a, if you'll see about the infra of the VMware, that is very useful and it's always supportable, and nothing in the background, nothing downtime for the VMs. And as per the customer requirements or as per the company requirements, we can establish the network and establish there is a DRS and HA is the most common things that is very useful in the VMware. If you'll think about the hypervisor. Anand?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that looks good. My question was something like different. I just wanted to know like, what are the limitation of VMware? What are the limitation of Citrix if I'm comparing with this one? Because as a customer, if my question is clear, like I have some requirement with some of the users, some of the applications. So what to choose and why to choose? That's what my question here.
Okay, on part of Citrix, actually, I'm not very good, but
Okay,
I can compare with the if you.
let me explain about this question about to Anand. I'll help you, Rajesh, on this. See,
Okay.
basically he is trying to understand. Forget about Citrix. Citrix is a technology to publish and like desktop and application. Okay, you are discussing about VMware, that is called as a hypervisor. Okay, and VMware view is a different. That is, if you compare the VMware view and Citrix, then both are in market as a same functionality. Okay, but in Gen server is a part of Citrix and it's a hypervisor. And he is asking like what could be the feature or good things in the VMware in compared to Gen server. Do you have any specific a quality of VMware which can overcome the Gen server?
Yeah, really correct.
Correct, correct,
As you
Sandeep.
already, yeah, Sandeep, as you already told us, then you are from your background is cities, right?
Yes.
Thank you for explaining. Okay. Okay, if you'll think about the Hyper-V, VMware and Hyper-V, Hyper-V is the inbuilt feature of the Microsoft, then it's a very easy for me. I can explain everything. But if you'll go out of these skills like VMware, wintel, and this thing, it's a very little tough to explain. But here in Windows 2016 and after 2K, starting from 2K, we got hypervisor features also. That is like kind of VMware. But in
Uh,
2K16, if you'll think about the hypervisor, it's very very convenient for using as like VMware.
Fine, Rajesh. So, will it possible for me to set up the environment into my home, like my desktop, or what is the minimum requirement for this?
Yeah, correct. Okay, guys. Okay, if you are going to establish the network home lab, then suppose if you are planning to go for 6.5 version for VMware vCenter, at least 12 GB RAM you should have, because only the vCenter only takes 8 GB. Okay, and after that 4 GB, rest of the 4 GB it will be provided. It will be shared to the VMs. Minimal VMs, like for the practical things, it will be manageable with the
So, any
12
hard
GB RAM.
hard disk limitation or any speed limitation is there apart from RAM?
And the storage, if you can think about the storage, it's
I think voice is some disturbance. Sandeep, also you also getting the same disturbance?
GB.
Yeah, a little bit I also feel.
Okay.
So Rajesh, can you try to figure out your network connectivity, because something is like it's fluctuating, your network glitch is there. So you can just try to figure out and come in network.
Rajesh is rejoining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
can see I've lost your screen.
Subham
Okay.
Das joined, I think, from
He's
your.
from GIT, so that's cool. No worries. So I know him. Thanks, Subham. Thanks for joining this call. So Subham, can you introduce yourself? What's your that technical background, like which domain, in which year you are studying currently, and what is your stream in GIT?
Yes, I have been studying in GIT since 2018, and I am in second year now.
Yeah, cool.
Because
Thanks, Subham.
Sorry guys.
And I am
Thank you.
from
Sandeep.
Electronics and Communication branch.
Thanks, Subham. Thanks for introduction. Yeah, Rajesh,
Okay.
you carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then if you'll come with the Anand,
So Rajesh,
there was a
we were speaking about like talking about the minimum requirement apart from RAM. So just
Correct.
wanted to understand, like, if I'm going to set up the environment for my purpose, so what is the minimum requirement apart from RAM? Just wanted to.
Yeah. Before that, we have to purchase the hardware for 64-bit Intel and BIOS. BIOS is enabled with hyperthreading and VT and other things, RAM. And if we'll talk about the storage, hard disk at least 150 GB. And other things we need the setup of like VMware vCenter setups. Like Anand, you have the question about the hardware limitation or software limitation as well?
Nothing much. Just wanted to understand
Okay,
the minimum requirement
correct.
about that,
Yeah,
and apart, yeah.
yeah, it's a minimum requirement for the storage side. What I told you, am I answered?
Yeah, that's fine. My next question is wanted to understand like the basic architecture of VMware, the setup. If you can just brief basic architecture, like what are the things like in
Sure,
citrix
sure.
hypervisor, then OS, then application, like
Sure,
like that.
sure. Yeah, sure. If we'll talk about the VMware part, there is a basic things. First, we install the vCenter on the physical machines, and in some cases we install the vCenter on the virtual machine also. But before that, because since we are going to start the infrastructure, first we have to choose the physical machine. On top of that, we have to install the vCenter. On vCenter, we have to install the data center. Under the data center, we have to establish the clusters. Under the cluster, we can as per the network things we have to establish. Under the cluster, we can install the ESX. Under the ESX, we then VMs comes in. Okay, and if VM comes in, then on top of the ESX, we can install the VMware. This is the infra.
Okay.
In background, before many things to establish things as storage, everything.
So thanks, Rajesh.
Okay.
Thanks. It's a very nice presentation.
Let's move
So
on.
will we guys get the lab facility also, or you will help us to set up? Shall we get the lab access or the live lab?
Anand, you are speaking.
Yes. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I can hear you.
So shall we get the lab access, or will you guys just help me to set up
Lab
wherever
access.
I'll get some problem while set up the lab? Sandeep, are you able to hear me?
Why not?
Yes,
Once
so Rajesh, we
involved with the class, then
I think some communication gap is happening because of some network issue from Rajesh end. So Rajesh, we are trying to understand, like, if you have certain kind of lab setup, it's not supposed to be your office related work. We are expecting other setup lab from online to whoever joined this course for VMware. Okay, people are expecting to do the lab setup because as a theoretical things, if you are going to in market for the interview, they people will expecting something like as a experience corporate understanding. So the online things we have to set up a lab to figure out and give the real picture of this corporate sector VMware experience, how this VMware is going to implement in the organization.
Yes,
right?
and we are keep on working on this lab setup also in background.
No worries.
Before your questions,
it's a future reference. It's not for right now. We are just asking for a future reference. Once we'll start the courses, okay, parallelly we need to figure out for the lab setup. That's the things everybody is expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an important thing because of once we'll provide the lab, it will be very convenient to students also to understand the lab setup
Right.
and how it will be going forwarded. Okay,
Correct.
it's the basic
Yeah.
things. Definitely, we'll have to work on this, and we'll publish the videos on that, and students also will get in future, and once they will
Yeah.
involve the in the classes.
Yeah. Thanks, Rajesh. Yeah. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Active Directory. We already talked about the Active Directory. Okay, then give me some time to again going through the Active Directory. What is the Active Directory? Active Directory is a services developed by the Microsoft and used to store objects like user computers, printers, networks, information, etc. etc. It facilitates to manage your network efficiently with multiple domain controller in different location with active AD database and able to manage change AD from any domain controller. And this will be replicated to all other DCs centralized administration with multiple geographical locations and authenticates users and computers in Windows domain. Active Directory is source where it interconnected with domains and user clients machine. I'll let you guys without Active Directory not possible to establish the Windows domain and VMware cluster as well, Windows clusters, file shares, etc. In every where Active Directory services are needed, either it may be SQL database or any other application to authenticate with central servers. If we'll talk about the Active Directory authentication, Active Directory authentication is very must in such a way like user client is going to authenticate with the central domain and other things like customer is going to establish applications. In that case also application servers need to be connected with the authenticated servers. And for storing the data from the clients to the central servers in kind of restoration if anything happened with the user client data. It's a very important Active Directory is the authenticated purpose we are using. Why Microsoft Active Directory knowledge is really required? Because of after Windows and VMware, Active Directory is coming to the picture, and it's Active Directory knowledge is very important to gain from the market and to stable in the market and such a nowadays is a very competitive market like going everywhere with the multiple skills like Active Directory, Windows, VMware. It's a very combination. It's a good combination to perform and to show up the enhancement, knowledge enhancement. So that I'll go to the knowledge why it's required to perform or establish any kind of setup. We always required AD authentication. Storing users machine data on central location, AD is required. To perform the services of file share, print, user authentication more and more, to take most advantage of MS Active Directory is currently current industry. To enhance the advanced level of knowledge along with Windows and VMware. Okay, before going to the duration of courses, just I wanted to show the installation part for the wintel. Can you see, guys? This other
Yeah. We can see.
PPT.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a PPT for installation of Windows servers.
The page is coming like from beginning. Okay, now we can see. Yeah.
Okay. If you have decided to install the VMware either on physical machine, if you have decided to install the OS, then there is a first step to prepare the installation media DVD and start the installation process. If you don't have the Windows Server 2016, any OS installation software, then plug the Windows Server 2K16 boot drive to the computer and boot your computer. When the Windows setup page appears, select your language for time format and keyboard. It's a first screen will appear when you will start the installation, any version of the Windows. There is a language selection and the region. Now click on the install. Once you click on install, it will appear for the which flavor you are going to install, which version. In the 2K16 there is a standard evaluation, like it's a evaluated version of OS. Then you have to we are going to select data center evaluation. Okay, and after that it will ask for the license agreement. Once we'll accepted the license, it will ask for the custom installation or advanced installation. If you'll go about the custom installation, it will ask for the manual things interruption, like we can set up the drive as per our convenient. And if you'll click on the upgrade install Windows, then upgrade when we are going to upgrade the OS. If you have the other legacy software, legacy OS on the computer server, then we can choose the upgrade. The other existing OS, it will be upgraded with the new OS. Then only we can choose the upgrade. Otherwise, we'll have to go for new installation custom. Okay, once we select the custom, select the hard drive that you want to install Windows Server, then click on the new. If you'll click on the new, it will give us the chance to segregate the storage out of total 60. We can give 30 GB to C drive, and another drive we can make it as 30. Like 2 drive we can make it as per one convenient. Partitioning, that same thing. You can give your choice of space, then apply, and then next. It's a simple thing. You might have already installed the normal Windows on your computer. It's a basic things which I'm showing, but Windows is very broad. If you'll think about the Windows 16, 2K16, in that there is many features like Docker and Cloud Witness. If you are deciding to establish the Windows cluster in the Windows 2K16, there is a Cloud Witness also came into the picture in 2K16. Many things in the Windows 2K16 servers. This is the PPT for only simple things which I'm showing you. Once it will finish, then you put your password, user ID and password. By default, the user would be make it as administrator, then password. Then you will enter to the screen. Okay. Thank you. Then in that, if any question, then please raise your hand, then I'll definitely give the answer.
Yes, Rajesh, Kishan this side. I have one question. Like this is for the one server installation. Let's suppose if we need to install 200 or 300 or 400 servers. So is there any automated way we can install servers?
Yeah, there is a, if you are going to install, sorry, you are talking about the VMware, virtual machine, right?
Yeah, virtual machines.
Okay, there's a many way we can go through, we have the option to go through the PowerShell also. there is a way we can go through PowerShell with the set of requirement, like we have to prepare one CSV file. In that CSV file, we have to give the host name of the server, IP address, and the RAM, storage, everything we have to give. And in that, there is a one command for the PowerShell. We have to run that command. I can show you here, but it's the way I'm telling you, the PowerShell, other things. If you'll go to the vCenter, there is an option to in new version of VMware, there is an option to establish many virtual machine through the vCenter console.
Okay. And if let's suppose, then how we are managing license, Windows license? Like, because if there are 400 servers we are creating, then how we are managing Windows license?
Yeah, okay. For Windows licensing, we managing in the environment, that is very important. If we are not going with the any pirated license, we have the another server we have to establish with the license server. We call it as license server. Then we have to authenticate with all the Windows servers. It will be automatically, suppose we are going to run one or two commands in the newly deployed on the VMware virtual machine. It will sync with the license server. It will be updated with the licensed.
Okay. So any one license servers we need to establish.
Correct. Based on the our virtual machine, how we are going to, on how many virtual machine we are going to deploy in our environment.
Okay.
Other question is?
Any question, guys? Shubham, Kishan is already done. Prasant. Okay, so thank you, Rajesh. Thanks for nice session. Shubham joined from GIT guy. Just for introduction, I'm giving you all. So Shubham, can Rajesh, can you stop your screen? Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So Shubham, if you're there in call, just for introduction, as today was like, Rajesh, he's having more than 9 years of experience in virtualization, Windows Server, wintel and all. So he has covered today's session. And afternoon, there is one more session scheduled at 2 p.m. for Python. Okay, so I think you're in second semester. Python is a part of your course. So I will suggest you, everyone who is the, if you're knowing somebody in GIT, your friend or in your circle, you can ask them to join the Python class. Okay, and let me give you some brief about this institute. Okay, so this is started by me and my team, and this is for all working professional as well as for fresher. Okay, so if we talk about fresher, what fresher will get here, they will be getting the once you'll passed out from BTech, you will be looking for job, right? So you should be knowing one technology at least, which is required to understand as a fresher. It might be programming, it might be other technology. So we have a team of 18 to 20 professional who are working professional, and everybody is having more than 9 to 10 years of experience. So our suggestion is, if you'll suggest in your circle or in GIT college student who are interested to join, if you'll see my screen, there are many technology involved in this KT skill program. AI in machine learning, Azure admin, Azure DevOps, middleware DevOps, Ruby and Rails, Big Data, Hadoop, Citrix, VMware, Horizon View, C, C++, embedded system, Core and Frame, Java, Python, iOS. So these are the technology we are providing. So currently we are working on weekend to give the demo classes. Okay, and that demo classes are already published on the YouTube channel. So we'll share you the page. Okay, if you'll ping me your contact number, I will share the details, or all the pages. You can go on KT skill site and you can visit the site. There is a link. Okay, so www.ktskill.com, you'll go to the site, you will be getting all the course details. Okay, and what are the fee involved. But as a fresher, I will suggest you, for you guys, we are giving offer as like 20% discount, and that also depends upon like, you know, what kind of technology for fresher is required. Would definitely our trainer will help you to understand, and it will be really helpful to do the intensive as well, because if you're covering the in third year, then you can do the intensive as well from the KT skill. And so these are the things we can receive from here. The trainer will be engage you to give the incorporate project experience. They will help you out to prepare your resume guidance and all the stuff, mock to one-to-one, introduction of your course detail with your related interview questions. So all will be involved in this program. Okay, so these are the page you can go through on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I will share the details to you. Okay, I'll suggest you to ping me your contact number so that I will message you. Either it will be on Facebook, I'll message, or WhatsApp. So I will suggest you to go through and ask everyone to join the course. And parallelly, I will be like, giving you the meeting details whenever we're going to schedule the demo classes. I will share the details for with meeting link. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right, guys.
Actually,
So
I am also looking for Python course.
yeah, so you can join the Python demo classes today at 2 p.m. So the trainer will be having more than 10 years of experience in IT corporate sector, and he's holding the degree of PhD, okay, in the AI and machine learning, and they will be using the Python for that course. So he's mature enough to give you expertise in Python. So I will suggest everyone, whoever interested to join for Python, you can ask them to join at 2 p.m. All right. So thanks, Subham. Thanks for taking your time in weekend, and thanks for joining this call. Thanks everybody to joining this call, and I will wish you for happy weekend, and have a good day, guys. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.